Hello everyone and welcome again to my channel Press F for Fashion. On this channel I upload Clo3d pattern making tutorials from the book Pattern Making for Fashion Design by Helen Joseph Armstrong. So if you have interest in learning pattern making or in general 3D garment creation, please subscribe to this channel. In this tutorial video, we are going to learn designing with darts, in which we are going to do two parallel dart variations to create designs. The first variation is the parallel darts at neck and the second one is the parallel darts cape effect. The requirement for this tutorial is base, 2 dart front and back bodice. And if you don't have this bodice, you can create it by watching my previous 2 dart series tutorial video. Now with that out of our way, we can start with the designing with darts tutorial. So in designing with darts, we are doing two variations of parallel darts and we are starting with parallel darts at neck first. To do this, first we are going to trace the 2 dart front bodice with side dart and waist dart. The next step is to center the point of waist dart and side dart 3/4 of an inch from the bust point. To do this, with pattern tool selected, click on the waist dart point and in the pop-up menu, click on the edit dart option and in the dialog box, type in the 3/4 of an inch subtracted length value in the length option and hit OK, and repeat the same process for the side dart as well. Now with internal polygon line tool selected, draw a slightly curved line from the neck point to the waist dart. After adjusting the curve line, right click on the center front line near the neckline, choose split option and in the dialog box type in 3 inches in the line 1 option, then hit OK. And the next step is to create a parallel curve line 1.5 inches from the existing curve line. To do this, with pattern tool selected, right click on the curve line, then click on offset as internal line option. In the dialog box, type in 1.5 inches in the distance option, then check the reverse and extend option and hit OK. Then drag the side dart point to the curve line point where it is touching the dart leg. Now to draw the neckline, with pattern tool selected, right click on the center front point that we previously created, then go to add perpendicular line option and click on Y axis. In the dialog box, type in a shorter measurement in the length option so that it doesn't cross the curve line and hit OK. Again, right click on this perpendicular line point, then go to extend trim and point option and click on to internal line option. Now with internal polygon line tool selected, draw a slightly curved line from center front point to the curve line touching the horizontal perpendicular guideline we just created. Then right click on the intersection point, go to extend trim and point option and click on to internal line option. After that, trace this new neckline along with the darts and pattern outlines, then create the missing internal line again from neck point to waist dart point. Now right click on this curved line and click on cut option and repeat the same for the other curved line as well. After cutting the curved lines, press hold shift and select both the dart legs of the side dart, then right click on it and in the pop-up menu click on merge option to close the dart. Repeat the same process for the waist dart legs too. After closing both the darts, we can start creating corresponding sewing lines to the side seam, shoulder line and curved darts of front and back. To sew the shoulder line, use the MS2N sewing tool. And after the sewing is done, with transform tool selected, right click on the front pattern, then click on symmetric pattern with sewing to create the same. Now we will activate the arrangement points and position it correctly over it. Then hit the spacebar to simulate. And the last step is to draw new dart points 1 inches from the original dart. To do this, click and drag the first curved dart point from your left in upward and same direction of the right dart leg until you see the pin guideline, and just when this guideline appears, right click, and in the dialog box you can type in 0.5 inches to 1 inch, and I am taking 0.5 inches and hit OK. Repeat the same for the other dart as well, but here drag the point on the left dart leg and in the dialog box type in 1 inch in the distance moved option and hit OK. Then hit the spacebar to simulate, and now we are done with our parallel darts at neck variation. The next variation is cape effect, and to do this, first we again are going to follow the same drill as before, which is to trace the base double dart front bodice and reducing both the darts length by 3/4 of an inch. The next step is to extend the shoulder by 1/4 of an inch. To do this, with pattern tool selected, right click on the shoulder point, go to add perpendicular internal line and then click on local option, and in the dialog box first check the both option, then type in 1/4 of an inch in the length option and hit OK. Also delete the internal line on the pattern side. Next step is to go down 1.5 inches from the neckline on the center front, and to do this, with pattern tool selected, right click on the center front line near the neckline, choose split, and in the dialog box type in 1.5 inches in the line 1 option and hit OK. Again right click on the shoulder line near the shoulder point, choose split, and in the dialog box type in 1/4 of an inch in the line 1 option and hit OK. Now with internal polygon line tool selected, draw an internal line from the shoulder line point to the center front point in a boat neck shape to create a new neckline. The next step is drawing vertical slash lines parallel from dart points parallel with the center front. To do this, with trace tool selected, first left click on the center dart waistline to select it, then hit enter to convert it into an internal line. Now with pattern tool selected, right click on the waist dart point, then go to add perpendicular internal line and click on y-axis. Then in the dialog box type in 180 degree in the angle option, change the length to 5 inches and check the reverse option, then hit OK. Now draw an internal curved line from shoulder point to this extended line point and make sure this curved line is parallel to the neckline that we have previously drawn. The next step is to draw another curved slash line from the side dart as well. To do this, with pattern tool selected, right click on the previously drawn curved slash line from the shoulder point and in the pop-up menu, click on offset as internal line, then in the dialog box type in 1/4 of an inch in the distance option, check the reverse option and hit OK. And if this line is not intersecting with the extended shoulder point, simply drag the curved line point to the extended shoulder point to create the intersection. Again, with pattern tool selected, right click on the previously drawn perpendicular waist dart line, then click on offset as internal line and in the dialog box uncheck the reverse option, then type in 1/4 of an inch in the distance option and hit OK. Now right click on the upper point of this line, go to extend trim and click on to internal line option to intersect it with the curved line. Again right click on the extended curved line point, then go to extend trim and click on to internal line option to create a clean intersection. After this, right click on the perpendicular line which is crossing the dot. Then click on change length option and in the dialog box reduce the length of it so that it doesn't cross the dot and hit OK. Again, right click on the lower point of this line, then go to extend trim and click on to pattern outline option so that this point intersects with the dart leg, and then simply drag the side dart point to this intersection point. Now we need to create an intersection point at armhole. To do this, first right click on the curved line intersecting the armhole and in the pop-up menu click on add point to intersection option. Repeat the same for the armhole line as well. After this, with trace tool selected, trace all the pattern outlines, internal lines, darts and the new neckline to create a separate pattern and redraw any missing internal line. Now the next step is to cut these internal lines, and to do this, hold press shift and select the curved slash lines from side dart point to the armhole. Then right click and in the pop-up menu click on cut option to cut it. Again, hold press shift and select both the dart legs of the side dart. Then right click on any of the highlighted dart leg and in the pop-up menu click on merge option to close the side dart. Repeat the same process for the waist dart slash line as well. The next step is to sew this front bodice to the back bodice. Here we start with sewing the shoulder lines first. To do this, with M/N sewing tool selected, first create the M sewing line in the direction of shoulder point to the neckline on the front bodice and hit enter to end M sewing line. Again, create the corresponding N sewing line also in the same direction of shoulder point to the neckline till the blue point that appears on the shoulder line of the back bodice. For the rest of the sewing, you can use any preferable sewing tool. The next step is to mark the darts 1 inch up. To do this, press hold shift and select both the dart legs of the first dart from your left. Then right click on one of the dart leg and click on edit dart option. Then in the dialog box, reduce the length by 1 inch in the length option. Uncheck the shape dart cap option and hit OK. Repeat the same process for the other dart as well. And now we can complete the sewing of the darts. After the sewing is done, with transform tool selected, right click on the front bodice and click on symmetric pattern with sewing option to create the same and create the sewing lines on center front of the front bodice. Now activate the arrangement points and place the front and back pattern correctly over the avatar, then hit spacebar to simulate. Again, to create similar boat shaped neckline, first record the front shoulder line measurement, then right click on the back shoulder point, choose split, and in the dialog box type in the front shoulder line measurement in the line 1 option and hit OK. Now draw curved internal line from this point passing through the shoulder dart point and intersecting it at the center back, and then right click on this internal line and click on cut option to cut it out. After this, select all the cut out parts and delete it and hit the spacebar one last time to simulate it. And now we are done with our parallel dot cape effect variation. So this is it. I hope you have now learned the basics to design with darts. If you want to learn more about pattern making in Clo3d, you should definitely check out my previous videos. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, share and subscribe. I will see you all again in the next tutorial video. Till then, keep pressing F and peace out.